Hello, hello, and good morning or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. My name is Tracy if you're new here, so welcome. I aim to do a live every week covering different topics. So I know there's a few of you who are interested in this week's topic, and it's the 5 things that I wish I'd known before I became a mother. Now, I feel it's super important to share these types of things because as a society, whilst we're getting better at talking about a number of different previously potentially taboo topics, we are still, I won't say hiding, but we're not exactly sharing the truths of everything, whether it be for fear of judgment or because we feel like we're failing in some way. And I guess I'm here to lift the lid on all of that and to really just be raw and honest with you. Now, obviously, when you're pregnant, there was a lot of stigma about talking about miscarriage or losing babies, and that's to some extent been lessened, as well as, the public breastfeeding in public and the stigma also around formula feeding and it being considered second class. I think all of these topics are getting talked about more and more, and I'm very much of the opinion that you do what works best for you, what you're able to do. Hey Danica, nice to see you. So this was, I guess, my take on the 5 things that I wish I'd known before becoming a mother. So you are in the right place. Hi Candice, nice to see you. So as I said, this is really my take on the 5 things that I wish I'd known before becoming a mum. Really useful to you if you are either currently pregnant, if you are trying for a baby, maybe you're going for number 2 after a bit of a gap, maybe you've become a new mum and you're a little bit overwhelmed by everything and struggling. So that's kind of who I'm aiming this video at. So I guess there's all I'll get into it today. As I said, I'm Tracy if you've only just jumping on. We'll be here for about 30 minutes just going through a few of those points, and I hope that you do take some notes and interact with me and let me know. So do let me know in the comments if you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay. It helps me to see who is here, who is present, who is, I want this to make this an interactive session, so you can ask me questions, you can give me some feedback if you understand what I'm talking about, making sure you can hear me and see me okay. So I can see there's a few of you on, and I know there's a few of you that are going to be watching the replay as well, and this will be available to you to re-watch if you want to. Hi Danica, live, nice. So I guess it's important to share because there's so much. Hi Candice, nice to see you. So we all go through, when you're pregnant, whether you're newly pregnant or later stages of pregnancy, there are a number of different appointments that we go to and meetings that we have and the antenatal or prenatal classes, and predominantly this is all focused around your health during pregnancy and then the birthing process and options. So they go through all about labor and the different stages of labor and the different options available to you and the different drugs available and the types of labor and birth that you can have, but very little is discussed about after the baby. So yeah, there's a little bit about, hey, you can't do anything for a little while because, you're going to be a bit sore and tender, all that type of stuff. A little bit of help and assistance around the kind of breastfeeding side of things. But nobody really talks about actually what it means once you have this baby in your arms. I remember back to when I had my daughter, I was so nervous about the actual labor process and how I was going to get this baby out of me. I hadn't really put too much thought into considering what it meant once the baby was in my arms. I had friends who had kids and I've been around lots of kids and I understood that things were going to change. I totally got that, and I knew, and I kind of, planned my life a little bit around being able to make some changes. But that still didn't prepare me for once I had my daughter, she was suddenly there. I was absolutely shattered after a super long labor. I was lucky I managed to have her in the bath and she came out in her sack, which was super special. And I instantly felt this bond to her. I won't say this overwhelming love, and I think that's something else that isn't spoken about, and that's not what I'm covering today. But if you give birth and you don't suddenly fall in love with your child, That's okay. It doesn't make you a bad mother. It doesn't mean anything. Sometimes, your hormones are all over the place. It just takes some time to kind of adjust and come round to the idea and the fact that you now have a baby. And that's totally okay. And that's not what I'm covering today, but that's something else that is totally normal. I know people who fall in love the second they see their baby or the second they find out they're pregnant. And I know people who fall in love down the track once their baby starts to communicate more and interact with them more. Both are absolutely okay. So let me know if you felt underprepared, if you have had a baby already, if you felt underprepared for having your baby. Maybe you felt supported throughout that process, or maybe you didn't. And I know there's a lot of, unfortunately, traumatic and bad birth stories out there. But even if you had a really smooth, conception process and pregnancy and birth experience, it doesn't make the becoming a mother part any easier. And I definitely struggled heaps. I was getting support with the breastfeeding and the nappy changes and all the things to do with, I guess, my daughter and what she needed, which as a young baby is actually quite limited. They need your face. They need you to be there. They need you to change their nappy. They need you to feed them, and they need you to help them to sleep. That's pretty much it. But you, as the woman, need support in so many ways. It's like the rebirth of you. So you're still yourself. So I was still Tracy, but this whole new version of me that felt torn apart, broken, yet whole at the same time. My heart was bursting with love for my daughter, but at the same time, my head was screaming, what are you doing? What is going on? I don't understand. And she didn't just come out and go to sleep. She came out and fed really well, but she didn't sleep. And I was so tired. And I'm thinking, well, now how do I actually just get some sleep? And how do I know what she wants? And if she's making a little tiny noise, is that a cause for concern? What do I need to do? And in amongst all this, I'm trying to then maintain, my relationships and figuring out where I fit into this world. So let me know if that resonates with you, if you've had your baby or if you're going to have your baby and you feel like this might be you. Just type new birth in the comments if you think this is making sense and if this is kind of where or what you're hoping to learn about, basically the rebirth of you as the mother. Because, as I said, I definitely felt super scared, super lonely, and just confused about what to do. Danica says, so many things I don't know, needed to do a parenting class pre-baby. And Kendi said, baby due date in 2 weeks' time. So this is important to know. Yeah, and it is. And the birth classes and everything are great, don't get me wrong. But I think there's a massive portion missing on what it means when you actually have this baby in your arms. And I think that's the part that's missing. So maybe I didn't prepare in the best way. Maybe I could have done more research, but there was so much information about hypnobirthing classes and about, breathing your way through your labor and about all the different ways, whether you were going to have an epidural, you're going to have a C-section, you're going to have a vaginal birth, like all these different options available. And I guess I was so nervous about how the baby was going to come out of me. I hadn't really prepared for the baby being in my arms. Now, I like to think I'm pretty smart. I've done pretty well at school. I did pretty well at uni. I've done pretty well at work. And all of a sudden, I just felt lost. And I think that's quite a normal feeling to feel. So let me know in the comments if you have felt this way or if you're nervous about feeling this way. And I think it's just not something that's not really spoken about. Even amongst your mum friends, everyone's like, oh, it's so exciting, you're pregnant, you're gonna have a baby, I can't wait to meet him or her or them, depending on whether you've shared the gender. And you go, yeah, this is so exciting. You get caught up in the excitement of it all, but no one actually explains to you what to actually expect once this baby is in your arms, what it does to change the relationships around you, your feelings around how you feel about yourself. It's a whole new world. So straight into it, the 5 things that I wish I'd known before becoming a mother. Number 1, I believed that I would kind of go about my daily life, albeit with a few changes, just with this cute baby tagging along. So yeah, I get that I wasn't going to be able to do certain things, but I just thought, you know what, if I was going out for lunch, I would just need to bring the baby with me and the baby would sleep there, or I'd hold the baby and it'd be perfectly fine. I just didn't foresee how much my life was going to change. Let me know if this resonates with you, because I know so many people who think this is the case. And I think I was also guilty of, I'm going to use my maternity leave to do all this stuff that I haven't had time to do, because I thought I was just going to have all this time, this really cute baby there, and then this time to do all this extra study and all this like sorting out of the house I needed to do and all these extra things. Anyone else feel like that? Felt like that? Feel like you might be able to do that? Because I'm sorry to tell you, but it generally doesn't happen that way. It didn't for me anyway. I thought I'd get all this stuff done, and it just wasn't the case. I hadn't considered, I guess, how the lack of sleep would impact me, how the lack of sleep would mess with how my brain would function, how much I could focus, what I could really... Danica said, definitely thought before that I might do some extra study. Yeah, I thought I had this course that I'd kind of half finished, a nutrition course I was studying at the time. And I thought, I'll just get that done once I've got the baby, because I'll have this extra time. I won't be working. I'll just have the baby. And when the baby's sleeping or we were just playing a bit, I'll be able to do some work. Didn't happen that way. Like I said, I unfortunately got one of the babies that just doesn't sleep. Some babies are great and they sleep well. Mine did not, and that made it challenging. She also didn't like to be away from me, so she just was attached to me in the daytime when she was sleeping, and at nighttime she'd wake up so frequently, and I was just so tired I couldn't function on anything. I hadn't thought about... I basically broke my... still trying to do home improvements. Candice said, still trying to do home improvements. I don't think I have the time. Probably not. You might get little bits done here and there, but maybe not. I'm glad this is making sense. As I was saying, I hadn't considered that my life was now going to be broken down into these kind of 2 to 3 hour time windows. So I thought I could just, jet off and it'd be perfectly fine. But I hadn't thought the baby needs to feed every 2 or 3 hours. And after or during or before the feeding, somewhere in there a nappy change needs to happen. And somewhere in there needs to be a little bit of playtime and also some sleep time. And I was lucky that I'm originally from the UK and I'm living in Australia. I was lucky that my parents came out to help support me when I first had my daughter. And even with them there, I was breastfeeding her. I hadn't considered, I was like, right, I'll pop out to the shops. Can you just hold the baby? And I'm like, quick, got to get out, got to get everything done. Because I knew that I just finished feeding her. She needed to have a sleep. She kind of half fallen asleep on me. I'm trying to transition her so she'll sleep on my mum. Whilst I'm trying to quickly get myself like vaguely looking somewhat normal, to get out the house, to kind of grab something that I needed, to get back in time before she wakes up and freaks out that I'm not there and needs another feed. And I hadn't thought about that. So I wish someone had told me that it's not just your normal life with this cute sidekick tag along, that it actually changes everything, especially in the early days when they need frequent feeds, frequent nappy changes, frequent, waking, sleeping, that kind of cycle. Yes, it's great if you go, I'll go out for a walk and that type of thing. That's great because they generally sleep in the pram, that kind of thing. It's great, but there's definitely, a whole nother world out there. So let me know, are you prepared for this, or did you expect this if you've just had your baby? Let me know in the comments. Even if you're watching on the replay, let me know, because I'm really keen to know if it was just my experience or if this is everybody thinking that you could do more stuff than you actually can do once the baby's here. So that was definitely my experience. So don't just think that, just be a bit prepared to actually take a bit of time out. Be kind to yourself. Your body is recovering. You are super tired. You're learning to cope on little sleep. You're learning what your baby needs and to give this baby everything. So things are going to be on pause for a while, and that's totally okay. But I think I wasn't prepared for that. And I was still trying to do little bits of work here and there for my husband. I'm trying to write contracts up for this sponsorship agreements that we had. And my brain was just mush. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if these words are making sense. I was just trying my hardest to get through each day, and it was super challenging. So that's my number one, it's not the same. It's a big change, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just being prepared for that and not being expected or expecting yourself to do all this stuff, especially when your baby is new. So let me know if that's you and if that helps. So Danica's I think you've got a 7-week-old, you said the other day. You said you found that to be the case. When the baby does go down, you think about what you thought you'd do and then you give up and go to bed. Perfect. And you know what? Prioritize sleep. It's totally okay. Things do get better as your baby gets older. Sleep does become a bit more regular and is something you get, 4 weeks, there you go, and is something that you get a bit more used to, but it's definitely a big change. And I think your body does adapt, but it takes some time. So be kind to yourself, okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is nobody is perfect. I know it sounds obvious, but I looked at all these other mums and I'm like, oh, they're such a good mum. They're spending all this time with their baby or their children. And this is the case for no matter how old your kids are. You would have those few mums that you look at, or even your own mum, and you think that they're doing such a wonderful job. They seem to know what to do all the time. They have all these great ideas. They do all these cool playtimes with them. They get this messy craft going on. They do all these cool things, prepare all these amazing meals. And you're suddenly feeling like, why am I not doing any of this? And you start to feel like this failure, like you don't know what you're doing. You're guessing every day. You're not sure if you're giving your baby what they need. You have no idea what you're doing for yourself. You really have no idea what you're doing with your life. You're just kind of trying to get through each day. You're just trying to kind of wake up, somehow make it through the day, keeping your baby fed and relatively happy and trying to grab sleep wherever you can. And before you know it, it's nighttime again. And I used to dread the night times because, as I said, my daughter didn't sleep. So it wasn't like I was going to get a break. It just meant that everyone else was getting a rest. And I'm more aware that I'm really tired and not sleeping. And it's okay to know. I wish someone had told me that nobody's perfect. Everyone's winging it. Everyone's doing the same. And I wish people had told me that when your baby's little, you're just trying to work out and learn what it is that your baby needs, because every baby's different. Even if you have a second or a third baby. So I've got my 2 children now. And even when you have a second or third baby, just because something worked for your first baby doesn't mean it's going to work for your second or your third baby. They can be different. So I guess I wish someone had told me that everybody's just trying to work it out. Everybody's just winging it, and don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty for not doing all this stuff. Just learn as you go along. By all means, read up on different things, ask people for advice. But again, just because your friend or your mum or someone says you have to do this or this worked for me, it doesn't mean you have to A, do it, or B, like it. I mean, I got some advice and I said, okay, thank you, and just didn't act on it. And I got other advice and I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. I might try that. And so some things I would implement and see if it worked for me, if I felt it was aligned with me and my values. So again, don't beat yourself up. I wish someone had told me that nobody is perfect, that no mother has it all together. And I know it can look on social media like some do. And I know it can look from your friends, and you've seen your friends who've maybe 6 months ago they had a baby, or a year ago, and you see them out and they're like smiling and happy and, oh, here's my cute baby and I'm just going to feed them and it's all cool. They hadn't told you that they actually have no idea what they're doing. They don't know why their baby's crying half the time. They've been up half the night. I wish somebody had told me that basically we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just doing our best. So let me know if that's helpful to you. Say nobody is perfect in the comments if you feel like you thought that other people had it more together than you do, or you're going into this feeling like, so obviously Candice, you're not quite there yet. You're going into it feeling like, well, all these other people have it all figured out, so you have to have it all figured out. You don't. I promise you, you do not. It's totally okay to not. Okay? On to number 3. This village, the village it takes to raise a child. I wish someone had told me that the village is broken. The village doesn't work. So maybe when my parents were younger, there were more family members, more trial and error day by day. Yeah, definitely. And that's totally normal. And please don't think otherwise. That is totally normal. You are exactly doing what you are supposed to be doing. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to do. And it's A-okay. So this village, like I said, maybe when our parents were younger, more people had I feel like there was more family around, there was more support around. Also, a lot of women didn't work, so that was something else. And often we maybe lived with either grandparents or siblings or someone like that, or at least lived close by. And this village that we needed to raise our children, even just close neighbours or something like that, there would be a lot more support and help out there. Like, I know my mum used to get involved in play groups and go to mothers groups and do all these things. Yes, some of them still exist, but some of them don't. And I think society has kind of told us that we need to do everything on our own now. Like, you know, mums can do it all. You can work, you can be a stay-at-home mum, you can look after the house, you can look after your kids. That's a lot. Like, being a mum is like a full-time job, plus add on your full-time job, plus the, you know, managing of the house in general, whether it be, you know, the chores, the working out what to have for dinner, getting the groceries in, working out the finances, you know, all your bills and things you need to pay. There is just so much going on. And often, myself included, my parents live a 24-hour flight away. They can't just pop over when I need them to help for a few hours to look after my baby. You know, some of us have, I know around the area I live in now, there's a big defense contingent. So a lot of the women, their other halves work in either Air Force or Navy or something like that, and they have to go to sea, or they go on assignment for, you know, it could be a couple of months, it could be longer, it could be a couple of years to somewhere else. So they're, for all intensive purposes, a single parent. There are a lot more single parents out there now. There are, like I said, people like myself who've moved away from family, and we don't have that support network there. And that can be really challenging. So let me know and write village in the comments if you, or write village yes or village no, if you feel like you have your village or if you feel like you don't. And I know for me, I definitely was super, super lucky and got a great mums group, and we're all still super close now, even though, so I met when my daughter was about maybe 9 weeks old. And she just turned 3 at the weekend. So we're still in touch now. So that can be a really good source of support for you. But my biggest piece of advice is, and I wish someone had told me, ask for help and be specific. Ask for what you need. If you need somebody to watch your child and your friend or someone that you know has volunteered and you are lucky to have that, then take them up on it and let them know what you need them to do. And it's okay to ask. People don't offer if they don't mean it. I'll tell you a story. So my friend had 2 super young kids. Her and her husband wanted to go out to watch Florence and the Machine actually perform. And she was super nervous that her kids won't sleep. They were both pretty young. They were a little bit older, obviously, than I'm talking about specifically, you know, the newborn ages. But they were still pretty young. But she was worried that they were just going to scream the whole time they were gone. And I said, well, so what? Like, if I have to put up with the kids screaming for 4 hours, it's only 4 hours. Like, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm okay with that. You can have a break. You can enjoy some time out with your partner. And don't worry about your kids. They'll be fine. We'll look after them. They'll be okay. There's no issues. But she felt so guilty at leaving, well, it's myself and my husband had offered, at leaving us in the house with the kids that probably wouldn't sleep, that they didn't end up going. And that broke my heart because I wouldn't have offered if I wasn't happy to do it. And like I said, it's a few hours out of my life for the baby to scream. Who cares? Like, babies are going to cry, and they're going to cry whether it's mum there, dad there, a friend there, a babysitter there. They cry sometimes. That's okay. And I didn't mind. I don't mind if the baby cries because it was going to be no different because this was the same routine that they'd had, and they would scream before bed with the parents there anyway. So it wasn't going to make a difference. It's not like they're being abandoned. Someone's still going to be there to cuddle them, to make sure they're okay. I think it's just making sure you ask for the help and being specific. If somebody can't help you with your baby, can they help you? Say, hey, I'd really love it if you could bring me over some delicious food that I can eat. You know, prepare me some snacks, make me some dinners, something like that. One of my friends, it wasn't when I had a baby, but I broke my collarbone, came over with, I think it was about 5 meals in these little containers that she'd made. This like salmon and potato and vegetable and I don't know, something else. And it was super thoughtful. I couldn't use both hands. I had one hand, so I couldn't chop anything up and I couldn't eat properly and slice things up. So it had to be a one-handed, easy thing. And it made such a difference to me. And I would have been the same. And I say I was lucky that my mum and dad came to stay when I had my my daughter, so they could help with the meals and things like that, which took that bit of stress off me. They came out for a while, then they left and I had to deal with it all. But it was super helpful to have that help. So whether it be you need to get in a babysitter or a nanny of some sort, whether you have friends that can help, whether you do have family and you want them to come and stay for a few weeks to help you out, that village doesn't exist in the way that it did, and you need to create your own village. So find a mum's group, find online support, find something that you can use to talk to others who are in a similar situation or who can help you, who have either been there before or who are prepared to help. And like I said, be specific. Don't just say, oh, I just really need some help, because people don't know how to help you, especially if they don't have children. They don't know what you need the most. Maybe you don't want someone to come and hold your baby. You want someone to come and make the food for you so that you don't have to leave your baby. Maybe you do want someone to hold your baby because you really just want to have, 10 minutes to not have to hold your baby, to be able to walk around and do your own thing. Whatever you need, that's totally fine. Ask someone for what you need. I used to get a couple of friends come over and sometimes I'd be like, hey, I'm really tired. Can you just please hold, play with, I don't care, do something with my baby so I can go and have a 15, 20-minute nap. And I know you feel bad because your friends come over to come and see you, but they understand. And if they know they're helping you, they're going to be happy. No village, Candace said. And it happens. And I say, I'm in the same situation. And then I had child number 2 and I've got number 1 still there, and number 2 now needs me as well. And we don't have that family support to rely on. So it's more common than you think to not have that support there. And it's about finding ways to get the help that you do need. Hire a cleaner so you don't have to stress out about your house. Whatever it is that you need someone to do, get someone to do it. There'll be plenty of people around that will be willing to help you. We even have a few friends that don't have grandkids yet, and they are super, super keen to have them. And I was like, well, my kids don't have a grandparent. You can kind of be their like pseudo grandparent. Take them out for a little play date, do something fun. I know it's hard when they're so little. Obviously, when they're 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks old, that can be super hard. You have a sister and an aunt. Everyone's busy, but you know what? You're going to be super busy, and it's not for the longest time that you need them. But I guarantee you, if you ask them, hey, would you be able to come over for an hour to help me? I guarantee you'll be able to get help, especially if you let them. I say choose the time. It doesn't necessarily matter to you whether it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, 8 p.m. at night. It doesn't really matter, because for me, days and nights kind of all mixed in anyway. Find out what someone might love to cook. Get them because they love cooking. Say, oh my gosh, you make such amazing meals. I'd love it if you'd cook something for me. Someone else might really like cleaning. Go, hey, would you mind just like giving my house the once over, because my floors are just so dirty and I just can't get to it. Someone else might be like, oh my God, I love to hold babies, especially if, you've either got friends or family who don't have babies yet, or who do and their babies are older and they just want, so many people love to hold babies. Just get them to hold your baby for a bit so you can just have time to chill out. And like I say, it doesn't have to be long. It can be for a short period of time. So just think about the things that you need, and you might not know that before having the baby, but think about the things that you need and make sure that you ask and be specific, because I wish someone had told me that the village doesn't just magically come. You don't just call up and go, hey, village, come now, I'm ready for you. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. And some of us are super lucky and do have that support. And even then, I think being specific about the support that you want and need is important, because I know some people have the opposite problem, and you have a mother or mother-in-law who may be quite overbearing and try and get you to do things their way, or not maybe acknowledge the way that you want to do things. And that can also be challenging too. So it's about phrasing it in such a way that I would love it if you could do this in this way, just be specific about what you want and what you need and what's important to you. And I think you'll find that people will be really keen to help. So I hope that that's helpful. Number 4, so we're getting through them. Number 4, a division of your tasks. So especially if you have a partner, think about all the things that you currently do at the moment. So normally you need to get the groceries, you need to prepare and make dinner, you need to, tidy up the house, you need to, go to work, whatever. There's a list of things that need to happen just day to day, do the washing, all that kind of stuff. And think about those things plus a whole load of those things again. So the baby creates washing because they vomit everywhere, they poo on everything, they just need to be changed, whatever it is. There's a lot more washing, and they're all tiny things that take ages to hang up. The baby needs to be fed, the baby needs to be bathed, the baby needs to be maybe held while they sleep, or at least rocked to sleep or taken time to put to sleep. So everything will take you that much longer, and you'll be able to get that much less done. So have a raw and honest chat with whoever is going to be helping you and work out who's going to do what. So you might do the majority of the household tasks at the moment. You might do the cooking and the cleaning and all that kind of stuff. When the baby comes along, that stuff plus the baby will probably become too much. So have an honest chat and say, what would the other person be able to or like to take on? Like, can your other half take on some of the cooking, or at least cook 50-50? Could your other half take on the laundry and you can do the laundry for the baby, or whatever you want to do? We just dumped it all in together. But can you find ways that you can help each other? Ways that you can both get through it. So because I was breastfeeding my daughter, he was pretty useless come feeding time because he had no milk in his boobs, but but he loved and took responsibility for bathing. It was their way to bond. So I would give my daughter to him and he would take over bath time. And it was so lovely to watch them bond, something that he felt useful in, something he felt he could do. And it gave me some time to have a shower, put a load of washing on, have a sleep, just be me for a second. Like, it was so nice to have him take that on. So have a think and write in the comments division of labor or chores, right? Either of those, write chores maybe, and think about who can do what. If you're going to be, or you are a single parent, think about what can you outsource or what doesn't need to really, really, really be done. There's certain things you might do now that are nice to have that doesn't need to be done. So I went from washing my sheets weekly to 2 weekly. I know it's an extra week, but you know what? We're not that dirty. We generally have a shower before bed anyway. Like, it's not that big a deal. Think about the things to make your life easier. Is there for a certain period of time when things are going to be really busy, can you get here in Australia, there's like U Foods or Hello Fresh or something that you can that's healthy still, but you can just heat up and make easy meals? Can you get somebody to help you, or can you do a heap of food prep so that it's all done for the whole week so you don't need to then worry about it the whole rest of the week? Do things to make it easy for yourself. I wish someone had told me that suddenly there's more stuff to do and you thought you were busy before becoming a mum. Now you're extra busy and you think, what did I do with all this time that I had before? Because I had so much of it and I didn't value it. Write time in the comments if you are a new mum and you feel this way. You wonder what you did with all this time you had before you became a mum. Because, yeah, it will be much easier once you know who's doing what. Make it better for your relationship too. Now, number 5. Motherhood. This is my fifth, which I think I wish I knew. That motherhood is not 100% enjoyable 100% of the time. And that's okay. You don't have to love everything. You don't have to like certain stages. You don't have to enjoy everything. It's okay if you really hate the nappy change. It's okay if you don't love breastfeeding. It's okay if you get frustrated by the amount of extra mess there is, or the fact that your baby's been screaming all day and you just wish they weren't there for a while. Like, it doesn't make you a bad mother. You're just human. We all need a break sometimes. It's okay to feel that some parts are not great for you. So for me, personally, I'm not a massive fan of newborns. Like, yeah, they're cute and all, and I love to hold someone else's for a while, but I also love to give them back because the lack of sleep, the lack of kind of interaction they give you is tough for me. I like it when they get a little bit older. Yes, there's new challenges in that they they can either start to answer back or fight you more. So nappy changes are so much easier on a newborn than they are once they get to about 8, 9, 10 months old, and they start to wriggle and squirm everywhere. And there's things that people like at different stages, but I prefer that stage, even though there's difficulties, because I feel like you get more back. You start to see their personality, start to see them develop. I know other people that hate that kind of 8, 9, 10 month mark up to kind of 2, 3. They just hate the toddler years. They love the newborns, love the babies, and don't like that stage. It's okay to not love that. And it's okay to not love every single day. You might just have a really bad day or just not like it for a while. It might just be that's the extra thing that you're just not able to deal with at the moment. It doesn't make you a bad mother. It doesn't mean you're not doing what you're supposed to do. I guarantee you're still feeding your baby. You're still giving your baby everything that they need. It doesn't mean you have to enjoy it all the time. Okay, I wish someone had told me that, because I felt like I had to be super happy, especially because I really, really wanted this baby. I had to be super happy all the time. Everyone goes, how's it going? Great, I've got this beautiful baby. I'm so happy. When I was thinking, I am not happy. I've had a crap day. She's been really unsettled. We've had no sleep and I'm not loving it right now. And people don't tend to tell you that. They don't tend to say that. And I wish someone had told me that it's okay to have those days and those times, that there will be better days and better times. And there are things that you can do to have more good days than bad days. There are things you can do to improve those bad days. Ways that you can, things that, and I wish someone told me this before, and it's especially true with toddlers, the way that you, I'm going to say, react to something they do has less to do with what they do. So whatever it is they've done, I'm going to say wrong, but whatever the naughty thing is that they've done, the way that I'm acting has less to do with what they've done than it does with how I'm feeling. So if I'm at my wit's end, I'm overly stressed, I've taken too much on, I can't deal with it all, I'm more likely to snap and fly off the handle. If I'm in a much better headspace, I'm much calmer, more confident, and then my child does exactly the same thing, I'm more likely to be able to deal with that in a much more effective way. I'm more likely to remain calmer, be able to take a deep breath, be able to explain to them why that's not the case. You know, it's completely normal to just lose it sometimes. We all do. But there are definitely things that you can do to help that. So let me know if you thought or you think that motherhood would be 100% enjoyable all the time and you really like it and you're expected to like it all the time, because honestly, it's not the case. And I don't have teenagers yet, but I'm not looking forward to them because my daughter is going to be a terror, I can tell. But that's to come still. Now, I know I said there was 5 points, but I have a bonus. I believed that I had to give my baby my everything. All of my time, all of my attention, all of my money, that to be the best mother that I could be, I had to literally be fully focused on this, especially because I only had one. It was one baby, 24/7. Literally, I was fully engaged with her and playing all the time. I would then make sure I held her or did everything I needed so that she wouldn't cry and she would sleep. I would then make sure that I'd, organized all these activities that are mainly for her, but if I needed to do something, that it was going to make sure that she was happy all the time. You know what? Yes, you need to look after your baby, but you need to look after yourself as well. And I wish that I had known that if I didn't take care of myself, it was going to come out in the way that I was able to care for and look after my daughter. It was going to affect my relationship with my husband, going to affect my relationship with my friends and my family and other people. I wish someone had told me that you don't have to give every single thing and 100% to your baby. Yes, you need to give them the nappy changes. You want to anyway. You want to play with them and do things, but it's okay to take time to do something for yourself as well. And I wish someone had told me that, because I know for doing something for myself, it makes me a much better person. So type in the comments, what word should I use? Everything. Type in the word everything if you are going to commit to making sure that you do something for you as well. You know that it's important to look after your baby, but you also know that you need to take care of yourself. It can't all be about your baby, because honestly, I believe that I literally had to do everything, and I'd get frustrated at anything that was outside of my baby. I'd be like, I can't do that because I'm purely focused here. And honestly, it was exhausting. It was exhausting to constantly be on looking at her, entertaining her all the time. Tanika says everything. It was exhausting to have to be on all the time. And it's okay to take a seat and chill out for a second and not make eye contact for, a few minutes and to do something else. It's okay to pick up the vacuum cleaner and do a slight bit of vacuuming. Your baby will survive. It's okay to do a little something that you need to do or that you want to do. I do some exercises while I was holding my daughter, and she would giggle and laugh while I'm doing these squats and these push-ups and these little things. I come down and kiss her while I was doing it. I was doing something for me, but I was also entertaining her. So try and think of things that you can do that are also for you, because I promise you, you will be a much, much better mother if you are happy yourself and within yourself. Hi, Samantha. Now, I saw this thing the other day and I wanted to share it. And it's related to my 5 things I wish I'd known, which I've just gone through with you. And it's how motherhood is. And I'm going to read a couple of these out to you because I feel like it kind of relates to what I've just said, and it may be something that you're feeling, and something to be expecting. So how motherhood really is, it's mentally exhausting. It's monotonous. It's definitely undervalued by society as a role or as a job. It can be very lonely or very isolating. Motherhood can also really bring out and be what a disappointment your partner can be. So many people go through relationship struggles after they have a baby, and it's something that's not spoken about because there are so many things, as I've just said. You're mentally exhausted, monotonous tasks, you're feeling lonely, isolated, your position's undervalued by society. That's going to have an impact on your relationship. And you might find that you thought your partner would step up and do more things, and they're not, or they're not in the way that you want them to, or they're not doing things the way that you want, or you have a difference of opinion on the way to do things. And it's something that's not spoken about, and it's very, very common. Motherhood is also messy in a physical sense and an emotional sense. It's messy in the sense that your house will just be trashed. There's be crap everywhere, and it gets worse as they get older and they start to get into more things and they can move more. But it's also messy in that you don't really know what's going on. Back to my first point, nobody really has it all together. Nobody really knows what they're doing. Your mind is a mess. You've got too many things going on at one time. That's completely normal. It's draining. You spend your time second guessing yourself, and the mental load is next level. Your brain is always filled with so much crap that you have to do, remember, be, whatever it is, because all of a sudden you've got to not only think for yourself, you've got to think for your baby, think for your partner, think about work, house, whatever else is going on. There is so much. It's like absolutely crazy. That's just my little in a nutshell wrap up. I think Samantha Allen says 100% agree. Yep. it's definitely challenging, but like I said, there are definitely things that you can do. And if I could go back and tell my pre-motherhood self what things would be like, my advice would definitely be to, 1, try to enjoy it as much as possible, because there are beautiful moments in amongst the hard times. Number 2, communicate. Communicate, especially with your partner. Tell people what you need and potentially how you need it done. Don't assume that someone else will know that. Like, I get frustrated because, the floor gets dirty. And my husband's like, the floor's clean, babe, it's fine. It's not fine. Can you not see how dirty it is? But it's like he has a different lens he's looking at things through. The same will apply. I'm like, now I know it's dinner time. I know the kids need to be fed. When's he going to work this out? It's been going on for a year and he's still not picking up when the kids need to be fed. And he's going, oh, why is our daughter getting cranky? Do you think she might need some food? Like, rather than getting frustrated, just communicate with what's needed. Have a little task list if you need to. Have a reminder set for certain times, because I think I expected everyone to suddenly step up and understand all these things that I needed and wanted to be done, and no one else was on the same page. So communicate. I wish someone had told me that. That is my number one piece of advice. I wish that someone had told the pre-mum me, communicate more what you need, when you need it, how you need it done, because it will make your life so much better and it will improve your relationship no end. Number 3, I wish someone had told me to find the time to discover me again. Like I said, I've always been pretty confident, pretty smart, driven, successful, and all of a sudden motherhood rocked all that. I felt so lost, so uncertain, so confused about what to do. And some of the things that I used to love, I don't love or knew I couldn't do. So it was finding new things for me and taking time for me to rediscover who I am now as a mum was super important. And it's something that I wish I'd known before, because my experience after having my daughter was totally different to when I had my son. So my son's going to be 1 soon, and the experience with him was completely different because I made sure to make time for myself. I made sure to communicate what I needed. I made sure that I would make time for the things that really matter. And that's the key. I understood what it took and what it takes to, I say hold everything together. Don't get me wrong. We have crappy days. We still have arguments. There's still things that happen. I still step on my kids, but there are definitely things to do to improve energy, to make the most of your time, to help your relationship to not completely go down the toilet. There are definitely things to do because having young kids and babies is tough. Whether you have 1, 2, 3, 4, they all have their challenges. And something I've started doing probably in the last 6 months or so, and more consistently recently, is really creating a gratitude journal or affirmations. And I used to think it was a bit woo-woo, but really taking time to remind yourself what's I say important, but what matters to you. So yeah, you might have had a super tough day. Your baby didn't sleep, they screamed lots, you just think, I'm a failure, it's not going well, this is crap. But then you actually look back at the day and go, but I got my first smile, or we really connected and played a really fun game of peekaboo today. And I'm so grateful that I have a beautiful daughter who looks up to me and I'm her entire world. I'm so grateful that I have a supportive partner who is there for me and will listen to me when I whinge and complain about whatever's been happening. You know, I'm so grateful that I live in a safe country where I don't have to worry about being bombed every day. You know, I'm so grateful that I have a beautiful house and a roof over my head to feel safe with my family. Whatever it might be, I think it's important to write down a few things that you are super grateful for, because it really helps to shift your mindset to being more positive and remember the good things that you do have, and the positive times. And then if you look back at it, you think you've had a crap week because you maybe been teething, they've been a bit unsettled, you haven't really been yourself, you've been snapping more, but you look back at all the things you're grateful for and you go, oh, there's actually been some really cool milestones this week. There's been some beautiful moments in there, and it helps you remember those in amongst the stuff that you remember, which is always the negative stuff. So I hope that that's been useful, and I hope that for those of you that are either soon to be expecting or are recently new mums, that those few points have really, really helped you. So I'll go over them really quickly. Believing that everything would be the same, I just have a cute baby to tag along, not the case. That nobody is perfect, remember, no mother, even if you looked at someone else and think they've got it all together, they have not. The village does not exist. You have to kind of create your village and make your village. Division of those chores, really important, who's doing what, and that it's not 100% enjoyable 100% of the time as a mother, and that's okay. It does not make you a bad mother. And like I said 5 points, but the bonus point was that you don't need to give your baby everything. And something I strongly believe, and something that I go through in my programs, is making sure that mums take that me time to reestablish who you are. There's a whole thing about the rebirth of the woman once you've had a baby. You're not the same person you were and you probably won't be the same person that you were. You're a new and improved version of yourself. And it's important to really recognize and take time to look at you. Who are you? What do you want? What else are you there for? You don't stop becoming you just because you're a mother. So if you think that I can help you, you want to jump on a quick call and see if we might be able to help each other, then I'm happy to. I've got a few time slots throughout the rest of this week that you can jump on. Just type call in the comments below, type call, and I'll send you a little link to have a quick 10-minute chat just to go through where you're at, how I might be able to help you, some next steps that I think might be useful for you in your specific circumstances. And yeah, hopefully that was all really useful. I look forward to any feedback. There will be a replay available of this. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, please do continue to comment. I will be getting back to the comments. And thank you so much, ladies, for those of you that have joined me. I hope it's been useful, and I will speak to you and be online again very soon. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Tuesdays.